please. I just need someone to look at him right away. I'm sorry to just burst in, but I just found my cat playing by the window, and
Okay, slow down, sorry. I'm a veterinarian. Let me see him. What exactly happened by the window?
well, there's this floral arrangement, and he didn't eat anything. I swear, he just like brushed up against it. But it was a stargazer lily,
Mm-hmm.
and now he has this faint yellow dust all over his whiskers and his paws.
Okay, hand him to me right now. I'm handing him off to my technicians immediately.
Wait, really? Is it? I mean, it's just a little pollen. I was going to wash it off, but I panicked.
You did the exact right thing by panicking and bringing him in. I need you to understand this isn't just a minor mishap. What we are dealing with right now is a tier 1 drop everything medical emergency.
Oh, thank God. Just from pollen.
Yes, just from the pollen. While my team is in the back stabilizing him and washing that off, I want to sit down with you and do a real deep dive into the source material and the toxicology reports I use every day, because we need to be on the same page about what we're fighting here.
Yes, please. I need to know everything. I had no idea it was that serious.
It's a very common misconception. People assume a toxin has to be consumed in, massive, obvious quantities to be lethal. But the reality of feline physiology, especially when combined with the biochemistry of true lilies, is, well, it's frankly terrifying.
So even just a dusting of it on his fur.
Exactly. Just a dusting of pollen on the fur, or, say, a petal dropping into a water vase, or even if a cat takes a single sip of that vase water.
Wait, the water itself gets toxic.
Yes. Any of those microscopic exposures can trigger catastrophic, fatal kidney failure. Every single part of a true lily is profoundly toxic. The stem, the leaves, the petals, the pollen, the water, everything.
That is just, it's wild to me. It's like having this silent, invisible hazard sitting right in the middle of my kitchen table.
It really is. Indoor plants are essentially hidden hazards.
But, okay, before we get into what's happening with his kidneys, I have to ask something that always sort of bugs me about this.
Sure, go ahead.
Cats are, they're apex predators. They're obligate carnivores. They have these highly specialized senses. If a plant is that incredibly poisonous, wouldn't they have evolved some kind of instinct to avoid it?
It's a completely logical question.
Like, shouldn't it taste overwhelmingly bitter?
Yeah.
Or send some neurological signal that says, hey, don't eat this, it's poison?
Right. And in the wild, an animal senses are finely tuned to their native environment. But you have to look at the evolutionary mismatch happening here.
What do you mean by mismatch?
Well, the modern indoor home is an entirely artificial environment. Cats did not co-evolve alongside these specific tropical and ornamental plants.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so they haven't developed a genetic memory or really any biological aversion to them at all.
So they're essentially flying blind in our living rooms.
Exactly.
But why are they chewing on them in the first place? I mean, if they're strictly meat eaters.
It happens for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it's pure predatory investigation.
Like playing.
Yeah, like the leaves are dangling, it looks like a toy, it triggers their prey drive, so they bat at it and then they bite down.
Right.
Other times it stems from a natural instinct to seek out roughage, vegetable matter to aid in digestion.
Like when they eat grass to clear hairballs.
Exactly that. In the wild, they'd chew on native grasses. Inside an apartment, they turn to whatever green thing is sitting on your counter.
And I guess these toxic plants don't always taste bad.
Unfortunately, no, they don't always have a foul taste. And here's the worst part. By the time the cat's body registers that it has ingested a toxin, the systemic cellular damage has already begun.
So they don't just like spit it out and walk away unharmed.
No, once it's in, the clock starts.
Okay, let's unpack the specific plants. Because you said true lilies earlier. Are there fake lilies? Like, what exactly is the botanical difference?
This distinction is arguably the most vital piece of information for any cat owner. When toxicologists talk about lethally toxic lilies, they are referring strictly to the true lilies. And those belong to two specific scientific genera. That's Lilium and Hemerocallis.
Right, so the Lilium group, that's going to include the Asiatic lilies.
Yep.
And Easter lilies, stargazer lilies, which is what I have. And Oriental lilies, right?
Exactly. And the Hemerocallis group is your daylilies.
Okay, so those are the ones that will completely destroy a cat's kidneys.
Yes. But the confusion and honestly the danger comes from common naming conventions.
Because everyone just calls everything a lily.
Right. There are several popular houseplants with the word lily in their name, like the peace lily or the calla lily.
Right, I've heard of those.
But they are botanical imposters. They don't belong to the Lilium or Hemerocallis families at all.
Oh, wow. I actually looked up a botanical breakdown once, and I think it said the peace lily is in the Spathiphyllum genus.
That's very impressive. Yes, exactly.
So if my cat chewed on a peace lily instead of the stargazer, it wouldn't be melting his kidneys right now.
Correct. Imposter lilies might cause a mild stomach ache or intense mouth irritation depending on the plant, but they do not cause acute systemic renal failure. The true lilies do.
God, that's terrifying. Let's get into the mechanics of that renal failure then, because this is where I feel like I'm totally in the dark.
It's complex for sure.
I know cats generally lack certain liver enzymes, right?
Does it?
Like glucuronidosyltransferase.
Yes, which makes their livers notoriously bad at processing medications and toxins.
Right. So why is this specific lily compound bypassing the liver entirely and just destroying the kidneys? Like, what
Yes.
is the actual poison?
So this is what's truly fascinating and immensely frustrating from a veterinary research standpoint. Science still does not know the exact molecular identity of the lily toxin.
Wait, seriously? With all the technology we have?
Seriously, despite decades of study, it remains a completely unidentified water-soluble compound.
That is insane.
Yeah, but while we don't know its exact name, we know exactly how it operates mechanically.
Okay, so it targets the renal tubular cells, right?
Yes. Once ingested, this mystery toxin enters the bloodstream and travels straight to the kidneys.
Okay.
Now, to understand the damage, you have to picture the nephrons.
And nephrons, those are the microscopic filtering units in the kidney.
Exactly. You have the glomerulus, which acts like a sieve filtering the blood.
Right.
And then you have the renal tubules, and they act like a reclamation facility. They reabsorb water and vital nutrients back into the body while letting the actual waste pass into the urine.
Okay, so the toxin gets filtered through that sieve, and then it hits the reclamation facility.
Precisely. And the toxin mercilessly attacks the epithelial lining of those proximal renal tubules.
What does that mean, practically?
It causes profound necrosis. The cells literally die, detach, and slow off into the tubes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it completely strips the kidney's ability to concentrate urine or reabsorb anything.
So the filtration reabsorption system is just physically breaking down on a cellular level.
Literally falling apart.
How long does it take before a cat actually starts acting sick? Like, what's the timeline on this chemical warfare?
The ticking clock starts the absolute second that water-soluble toxin hits the stomach lining.
Wow.
Early symptoms typically appear within the first 0 to 12 hours, but they are dangerously vague.
Vague how?
You'll see things like severe drooling, maybe some vomiting, a sudden loss of appetite,
Right.
extreme lethargy, or hiding. The cat might just seem profoundly depressed.
But that's the trap, isn't it? Because those symptoms just sound like, I don't know, a regular Tuesday for a cat with a hairball.
Exactly.
Or maybe they just ate their kibble too fast. If I didn't physically see the pollen on his face, I would never assume it was acute organ failure.
And that's exactly why indoor plants are such a hidden danger. The owner might think, oh, he's just got an upset stomach, I'll keep an eye on him.
Right. Let's wait and see.
But if we connect this to the microscopic level we just talked about, while the cat is quietly hiding under the bed or just vomiting on the rug, the cellular destruction in the kidneys is accelerating rapidly.
So waiting is the worst thing you can do.
Yes, because within 12 to 72 hours, this progresses from those mild symptoms into full-blown acute kidney injury, or AKI.
And the sources in our deep dive go into detail about the stages of AKI.
They do.
At first, because the tubules can't reabsorb water, the cat starts urinating excessively, right? I think the term is polyuria.
Yes, polyuria. They are just dumping all the water in their system because the kidneys lose their concentration gradient entirely.
So they're peeing constantly.
Right. But very quickly, that shifts to anuria, which is the absolute cessation of urine production.
Wait, why does it stop? If the tubes are broken and just dumping water, what causes the urine to shut off completely?
Because of that cellular necrosis we discussed.
The dying cells.
Exactly. Those dead epithelial cells sloughing off, they don't just disappear, they clump together inside those microscopic tubules, forming what we call cellular casts.
Oh, I see. So it's like a clog.
Yes. These casts create physical blockages. The pressure builds up, the filtration rate drops to 0, and the kidneys simply stop working.
That is brutal.
It is. The cat becomes severely dehydrated, uremic toxins build up in the bloodstream, and without advanced renal replacement therapy.
Like dialysis.
Right, like hemodialysis, which is incredibly expensive, highly invasive, and honestly quite rare in standard veterinary practice. Without that, the cat will inevitably die.
Okay, so knowing how fast this cascades, I have to ask about emergency response.
Okay.
If I'm an owner in that 0 to 12 hour window, and I know my cat just licked a lily, My first instinct, honestly, would be to get that toxin out of their stomach immediately.
I can understand that instinct.
Like, I'd probably Google how to make a cat throw up and try giving him hydrogen peroxide at home to save time before driving here. Would that have worked?
I am so glad you brought that up because it brings us to an absolute non-negotiable rule in veterinary medicine. Never, ever attempt to induce vomiting at home in a cat.
Yeah.
And never use internet home remedies.
Really? But I know hydrogen peroxide is often used for dogs in a pinch.
It is, for dogs. But feline stomachs react very differently to oxidative agents.
How differently?
Very differently. Cats are incredibly sensitive to hydrogen peroxide. Giving it to a cat can cause severe necrotizing hemorrhagic gastroenteritis.
That sounds horrific.
It is. Basically, it can cause fatal stomach and esophageal ulcerations. It just burns through the tissue.
Oh my gosh.
Furthermore, inducing vomiting in a panicked, struggling cat carries a massive risk of aspiration.
So they breathe it in.
Right. Depending on the toxin, inducing vomiting can cause the substance to be inhaled into the lungs. That causes aspiration pneumonia. Or it can cause chemical burns on the way back up.
So I would basically be trading a kidney emergency for a severe gastrointestinal or respiratory emergency?
Precisely.
Yeah.
You must always seek immediate veterinary assistance. Do not wait for symptoms to appear, and please do not play amateur pharmacist.
Just drop everything and go.
Yes. If you suspect an exposure to a toxic plant, you drop everything and go to the clinic. Waiting to see if the cat gets sick is essentially signing a death sentence.
Because of the casts.
Exactly, because by the time the symptoms are undeniable, the kidneys are already blocked with dead cellular casts. The window to save a cat's kidneys closes rapidly.
This is a huge paradigm shift. Usually, we think of a medical emergency as something violent or obvious.
Like a car accident.
Yeah. But this is the diagnostic landscape hidden in plain sight.
Way.
It makes me wonder about the rest of the house.
It's a valid concern.
We've talked extensively about lilies and the kidneys, but the botanical reports in our sources list dozens of other common plants. It feels like navigating a minefield without a map. What other silent assassins are people keeping in their living rooms?
Well, before we move on to those other plants, I want to take a quick second to address the people listening to this deep dive right now. If this conversation is helping you protect your cat, please like this episode, subscribe to the channel, and share it with another cat owner. One shared warning could prevent a real emergency.
Absolutely. So tell me about the other plants. What's the next big one?
If true lilies are the ultimate threat to the kidneys, we have to talk about the ultimate threat to the liver.
Okay.
And that is the sago palm.
Oh, the sago palm. These are everywhere right now.
Everywhere.
They look like those miniature prehistoric tropical palm trees, right?
Mm.
They're very popular in modern landscaping and indoor decor.
They are incredibly popular, and they are highly lethal.
So how do they compare to lilies?
Unlike true lilies, the sago palm contains a known, heavily studied toxin. It's called psychocin.
Psychocin.
And instead of targeting the renal system, psychocin is a vicious hepatotoxin. It causes severe acute liver failure.
How does psychocin actually break down the liver? Like, what's the mechanism?
When a cat or a dog ingests psychocin, the bacteria in their intestinal tract converts it into a compound called methylazoxymethanol, or M for short.
MAM. Okay, what does MAM do?
This compound gets absorbed into the bloodstream and heads straight for the liver. There, it causes profound oxidative stress.
Okay.
And it causes the alkylation of DNA and RNA within the hepatocytes. Those are the main liver cells.
So it's basically scrambling the DNA of the liver cells.
Essentially, yes. This leads to massive hepatic necrosis. The liver cells just die en masse.
Is it the whole plant that's toxic or just the leaves? Because I see cats chewing on the fronds of palms a lot.
Every single microscopic part of the sago palm is toxic, but the absolute highest concentration of psychocin is found in the seeds or the nuts at the base of the plant.
Wait, just one seed?
A single seed can contain enough psychocin to kill a dog or a cat.
That's horrifying. What do the symptoms look like for that?
The symptoms start with vomiting and diarrhea, but as the liver fails, it progresses to severe neurological signs.
Like what?
Seizures, tremors, and a complete breakdown of the blood's ability to clot, which leads to massive internal bleeding.
Oh, man. So we have lilies melting the kidneys and sago palms destroying the liver.
Right.
But what about plants that don't necessarily cause systemic organ failure? Like plants that rely on inflicting immediate severe physical pain to deter predators. That leads us straight into the trailing plants, right? Like the pothos.
Yes. The trailing plants are incredibly common. Philodendrons, dieffenbachia, and pothos. I guarantee almost everyone listening to this has a pothos hanging in a bathroom or an office right now.
I have two,
Yeah.
but I was looking at the botanical reports on the pothos, and I read about something called insoluble calcium oxalates.
Yes.
From my understanding, these aren't chemical poisons in the traditional sense, right? They are basically microscopic glass shards hiding inside the plant tissue.
That is a brilliant way to visualize it. Yes, these plants store bundles of needle-sharp crystals called raphides.
Raphides.
Right, and they store them inside specialized cells called idioblasts.
It's like a mechanical defense system. It's like biting into a loaded spring.
Exactly.
The mechanical pressure of the cat's jaw literally fires these microscopic needles out of the cells and into the soft tissue of their mouth, tongue, and throat.
You've got it perfectly. It's an instant physical retaliation.
That sounds so painful.
It is. When those raphides shoot into the delicate mucous membranes, it causes intense, immediate oral irritation.
So what does the owner see?
The cat will experience severe drooling, pawing at the mouth, foaming, and vocalizing in pain. It will also cause swelling of the lips and tongue, and significant digestive discomfort if they actually manage to swallow it.
So it's rarely fatal, unlike a lily or a sago palm, but it is incredibly painful.
Exactly. The plant's evolutionary strategy is basically, I won't kill you, but you will instantly regret biting me.
Highly effective deterrent. But the spectrum of toxicity in our sources goes even further than that. Take the oleander, for example.
Right. Oleander is infamous.
What's the mechanism there?
Oleander contains incredibly potent cardiac glycosides, specifically one called oleandrin.
Cardiac glycoside. So this is directly interfering with the heart muscle.
Yes. On a cellular level, cardiac glycosides bind to and inhibit the sodium-potassium ATPase pump in the cell membranes of the heart muscle.
Oh, wow. So it disrupts the electrical gradient of the heart itself.
Exactly.
If the sodium-potassium pump stops working, sodium builds up inside the cell, which then stops calcium from leaving the cell. Right?
You've got it. And that massive intracellular calcium overload causes the heart muscle fibers to contract way too hard and completely out of their normal rhythmic sequence.
So it throws the heartbeat totally off.
It triggers severe, often fatal cardiac arrhythmias and ventricular fibrillation. The heart literally loses its ability to beat correctly.
Wow. So to recap the sheer variety of this botanical warfare, we have lilies that cause cellular necrosis in the kidney tubules.
Right.
We have sago palms that weaponize intestinal bacteria to melt the liver.
Yes.
We have pothos firing microscopic needles into the mouth. And we have oleander shutting down the sodium-potassium pumps in the heart.
It's a lot.
And that's not even all of them. The sources also list tulips, azaleas, cyclamen, amaryllis, and even aloe vera.
Aloe vera is a surprising one for many people.
Right, because humans use it to soothe burns.
Huh.
But it causes vomiting and lethargy in cats.
It really paints a picture of how perilous a beautifully decorated room can be.
Honestly, reading through this and thinking about my cat in the back room right now, my first instinct is to just go home and throw out every single plant in the house.
A lot of owners feel that way after a stare.
But there has to be a middle ground, right? How can anyone safely decorate their home if everything is a potential poison?
You don't have to live in a barren home, but you absolutely have to play the taxonomy game carefully.
What do you mean by the taxonomy game?
Well, common names are basically just marketing tools used by nurseries, and they are incredibly misleading. We already talked about how a peace lily isn't a true lily.
Right.
Before you bring any plant indoors, you must verify it by its exact scientific Linnaean name using a reliable, peer-reviewed veterinary database.
Okay, so look up the Latin name, not the common name on the plastic tag. What databases do you recommend?
The ASPCA Animal Poison Control Database or the Pet Poison Helpline are the gold standards here.
Okay, good to know. What are some of the safe, scientifically verified alternatives that won't send an owner rushing to the emergency clinic?
There are plenty of fantastic feline-friendly options. Spider plants, for example, Chlorophytum comosum, Calatheus, peperomias, and African violets are all genuinely non-toxic.
Oh, African violets are pretty.
They are. Certain orchids are safe as well. And if you like the look of succulents, many are safe, like the Haworthia or Echeveria.
But you still have to check the scientific name.
Always. Because some highly toxic plants, like the string of pearls or the jade plant, are often sold right next to them and look very similar.
I want to clarify something from the sources about the non-toxic label, though.
Sure.
If a plant is officially classified as non-toxic on the ASPCA site, does that mean it's basically an all-you-can-eat salad bar for the cat? Like, can they just graze on a spider plant all day with zero consequences?
I definitely wouldn't go that far.
Okay, why not?
The non-toxic caveat simply means the plant does not contain systemic chemical poisons like lilies or mechanical deterrents like oxalates.
Right, so it won't melt their organs or stab their mouth.
Exactly. But any plant material, if ingested in large enough quantities, acts as a foreign body roughage.
And cats aren't really built to digest a lot of fiber.
Right. A cat's gastrointestinal tract is not designed to process a massive bowl of fibrous spider plant leaves. They will likely still suffer from gastrointestinal upset and vomit the plant material back up.
So it won't cause systemic organ failure, but it's not exactly a healthy snack.
Precisely. It'll just ruin your rug.
If a cat is obsessively chewing on plants because they crave that sensory input or roughage, what's the best outlet for that behavior?
The safest, most biologically appropriate sensory alternative is offering dedicated cat grass.
Cat grass, like what is that exactly?
Typically oat grass, wheat grass, or barley grass. You can grow it in a small, heavy pot so they can't knock it over.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It gives them a safe, satisfying outlet for that behavioral craving, and it redirects their attention away from your ornamental plants.
Let's talk about prevention strategies for the plants we do want to keep. What if an owner has a pothos or a toxic succulent and they just put it on top of the refrigerator?
People try that all the time.
Or what about hanging it from a hook on the ceiling? I've even seen people use motion sensor cameras that ping their phone or emit a loud beep if the cat jumps onto the plant shelf. Can't we just manage the environment architecturally?
The clinical case studies are absolutely full of owners who tried exactly that. We need to firmly, unequivocally debunk the high shelf myth.
Debunk it. Why?
Cats are incredibly agile, determined, and patient climbers. If there is a way to get to the top of the refrigerator, they will find it.
That's true. They are pretty relentless.
And as for hanging plants, they inevitably drop dried leaves, petals, or pollen down onto the floor where the cat can easily find them.
Like the pollen my cat just got into.
Exactly. And I imagine a motion sensor is useless because by the time the notification hits your phone, the cat has already taken a bite.
Right. You just get an alert that your cat is being poisoned.
Exactly. A camera is a great tool for monitoring, but it is not a preventative measure. It just provides you with high-definition video of the exact moment your cat got into trouble.
So what's the verdict then?
The only way to ensure a safe home is one where highly toxic plants are removed completely. Physical prevention, meaning the absolute absence of the hazard, is the only cure.
Wow. Okay, that brings us perfectly back to, well, reality. I'm sitting here in the lobby terrified while your technicians are in the back with my cat after he brushed against that stargazer lily pollen.
Yes.
We know the kidneys are the target, and we know we only have a tiny window. What is the medical team actually doing in the back room right now to stop this?
It's a highly orchestrated, multi-step process. The very first step is external decontamination.
Which means washing him.
Right. The technicians will physically wash the pollen off his fur using a mild feline-safe detergent.
Because he would try to lick it off himself if you didn't.
Exactly. Remember, cats are fastidious groomers. We have to ensure he can't ingest any more of the pollen while he's in the hospital.
So a thorough bath to remove the external threat. Then what?
So once the external threat is neutralized, we move to internal decontamination. If the ingestion was incredibly recent and we are absolutely certain of the timeline, like in your case, the veterinarian might induce vomiting clinically.
Wait, you said not to induce vomiting.
I said not to do it at home. In a clinical setting, we use specialized safe medications like dexmedetomidine and not hydrogen peroxide to safely empty the stomach.
Okay, that makes sense. And after that...
Then they will administer activated charcoal.
Oh, like they do for humans in the ER.
Exactly the same principle.
Yeah.
The charcoal acts as a binding agent in the gastrointestinal tract, absorbing any residual toxin before it can cross into the bloodstream.
But what if some of that unidentified lily toxin has already made it into the bloodstream? Do we just wait and see if the renal tubules start dying?
No, we go aggressively on the offensive. He will be admitted to the hospital for a minimum of 48 hours for aggressive intravenous fluid diuresis.
Fluid diuresis. So you're basically putting him on a continuous IV drip to forcefully flush his system.
Exactly. The goal is to dramatically increase his blood volume and maximize the glomerular filtration rate in his kidneys.
Make the sieve work faster.
Right. By keeping his body perfectly and constantly hydrated, we force the kidneys to process fluids rapidly. If any of that unknown lily toxin is circulating in the blood, the goal is to flush it through the nephrons and out into the urine before it has the time or the concentration to bind to those epithelial cells and cause necrosis.
It's a literal race to wash the poison out before it can latch on.
That is exactly what it is.
And does it work? Like, honestly. Since I acted immediately, what are his actual odds?
I always have to say that no one can ever provide a 100% guaranteed outcome in
I
medicine.
know.
But the data in our sources is very clear and very hopeful. Recent veterinary studies show that when a cat is brought in immediately after exposure, crucially before any clinical symptoms of kidney failure begin, and receives prompt decontamination and 48 hours of aggressive 5E fluids, their chances of a full, healthy recovery are excellent.
Oh, thank God.
Your rapid action, ignoring the instinct to wait and see, is the single biggest factor in his survival.
That is an incredibly empowering takeaway. It proves that knowledge and rapid action genuinely save lives. Before we wrap up this deep dive portion of our wait, let's crystallize the most important non-negotiable conclusions from the research for the listener to memorize.
Absolutely. Here are the core truths to take away from this data. First, true lilies, anything in the Lilium and Hemerocallis families, cause fatal acute kidney injury in cats by destroying the renal tubules.
Right.
Second, the danger isn't just in the leaves. Pollen and vase water from true lilies present a massive lethal risk.
Third, sago palms are equally deadly but attack via psychosin, causing severe liver failure.
Fourth, never wait for symptoms to appear after suspected exposure. Time is kidney tissue.
That's a good way to remember it. And fifth, never use home remedies like hydrogen peroxide, as cats lack the metabolism for it and it causes severe ulcerations.
Sixth, verify every single plant you buy by its scientific Linnaean name using a trusted veterinary database, ignoring misleading common names.
And finally, the safest home is one where highly toxic plants are removed completely. Do not rely on high shelves or cameras.
That is a phenomenal summary.
It is fascinating to realize that a creature as highly evolved, agile, and perfectly adapted as a predatory feline can be completely undone by a few grains of yellow dust sitting quietly on a windowsill.
It really is a potent reminder of how our modern artificial environments challenge ancient biology.
Yeah. And before we close out today's deep dive, here's a final, slightly provocative thought to mull over based on this research. Well, as climate zones shift globally, warming temperatures mean many of these toxic tropicals, like sago palms, oleander, and certain lilies, are migrating from indoor pots to permanent outdoor garden staples in regions where they never could have survived before.
That is an excellent point. I've seen a lot more sago palms planted outdoors lately.
Right. So if our indoor cats are this vulnerable to these plants, what does this massive botanical migration mean for neighborhood stray populations or native wildlife in the coming decades as our backyards become increasingly toxic?
It's a very sobering thought. The ecosystem is definitely going to feel that shift.
Definitely something to think about the next time you visit a garden center.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, keep digging, keep learning, and keep your curious cats safe.